Hi. I'd like to begin with what you know really better than I do. Name, first and last, gender if you prefer a gender, where you're from, and then if you can talk a little bit about your role in the film. And I'm just going to mention again, this one is for you. That is, in my curating, I actually call that the climax, because as a choreographer, I have a way that we introduce and fill in, and then I have a climatic piece in the middle. That was your piece. And then denouement. Yeah, so if you want to know the way I'm thinking about curation, I'm taking you on a journey like that. And then we have a little exclamation point at the end with reclamation of my black ass. All right. But you were the climax, so I'm really glad that you were able to be here, because you're that thing in the center that kind of speaks to all of the different aspects of everything else in the film in a way. So thank you for that. So I'll start with you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Mēsha Kussman, and I am the director and editor of This One Is For You. I identify as female, and I am a San Francisco native.
Hi, my name is Jillian Schmitz. I identify as female. I'm originally from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I reside in Los Angeles and have for the last 20 plus years.
20 years. That's my hometown, Los Angeles. All right. Thank you so much. And then your many roles in the film.
Oh, yes. Dancer, writer, producer, choreographer.
Yeah, that's right. And
Craft
truth teller.
service. I did craft service.
And truth teller.
Truth teller, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as I was thinking about the opportunity to chat with you, your film was like soul music to me. And I actually put it in notes like why, like what that felt like. So, oh, you know what I think I forgot to do? Let me grab my glasses, because I won't see my notes without them. They just look like lines on a page. Come. There we are. New to me, so sometimes I forget. I really can't see without them now. All right. So yeah, I wrote that, like it was like a soul song, like you're pulling on emotions and also giving me cathartic space too. When I listen to soul music, that's what it does for me, right? It pulls on my emotions but gives me the space to be cathartic and to resonate, right, and reflect. And I was also struck pretty deeply by the directional, like editing choices, your theatrical choices, Mēsha, the set pieces, lighting, the use of color, the costume. Jillian, I thought all used to a really stunning and engaging impact. And the way the burlesque art form and performance clearly uses a metaphor for revealing bits of your personal truth. So if you could speak to, share a little bit about your collaborative as well as creative process in creating this and centering your art form as that metaphor.
Thank you for getting the metaphor. I had a concern that people would be like, why is this woman taking her clothes off and talking about things like this? This piece was originally a live performance for a Los Angeles showcase. I got the idea to do it in an Al-Anon meeting. The person who was sharing in that 12-step was talking about how her chaotic upbringing in an alcoholic household had primed her essentially for dysfunctional relationships. And I really related to her saying that. She even at, I think, one point referenced it fitting like a glove. And of course, the only gloves I wear are ones I take off on the weekend. And at the time, I was doing a lot of burlesque and have for many, many years. And I just thought that that's exactly it. For many years in burlesque, and Mēsha asked me this question when we were creating this was, like, tell me a bit more about like why you like burlesque, why this piece, this, that, and the other. And it's been kind of an exploration or a fact-finding mission of can a woman express her femininity in her body and celebration and seduction without being sexualized? And in my personal experience so far, that answer is unfortunately no. But I'm continued and committed to keep finding out if that can be yes sometimes. And so for me, burlesque has always been more about a seduction to freedom than anything else. And people, obviously, with whatever gaze they are giving, will make their own deciphers as to if that resonates with them or not. But the idea came from this meeting, and then I was like, oh, this would be a great piece. What other pieces in a burlesque wardrobe in a traditional strip represents things that I can relate to? And the dress obviously being the exterior that so many of us walk around with as far as what's really going on or what we actually portray, the skin that we're in. The corset, obviously, the cinched waist is pretty literal as far as women have felt to feel the need to fit in physically, and anybody actually is. It's not just women. Men suffer from eating disorders as well, and the pressure of society and culture and how we should look. And all the way to, obviously the bra coming off is, breasts to me are so male celebrated. And their function is so not male celebrated. And so to me, it was an opportunity to talk about that. Then obviously, the kind of pivot in my life where all of these things had to be addressed, and that was a debilitating injury. So that piece was performed live. I didn't speak it. It was pre-recorded, and I danced to it. It was in the round, so I was dancing for my life, trying to get every square inch of that place to be seen and invited. And Mēsha happened to be in the audience, and we're in a similar community, but we didn't know each other. And before I did the piece, I was terrified to do it. I was like amongst peers and people who would hire me, or people have hired me. It was a very industry-heavy show. And so I was kind of freaking out beforehand, but it was kind of too late to back out. I was like literally about to go on stage, and I was like, I'm really gonna do this right now. And I remember putting my eyeliner on that night, and before my hands just like shaking. And I was so concerned that people were going to not like it, or not even not like it, just not say anything, or just not really address it. And I had kind of gone through all these scenarios about how much people would not like it, or how badly it could go. But I hadn't considered how great it could go. And I was like, are you prepared for the hate you could get, but are you prepared for the love? And I was like, I'm not at all prepared for that, actually. And that was more of what I experienced. People would come up after it was like 3 or 4 performances over a weekend. And they would just stand there. I didn't even know what to say, and they didn't know what to say, and they would just stand there. But in my head, I was like, if anybody asks you to put this on film, take them up on it. Okay. And Mēsha asked me to put it on film. That was the first thing she kind of said was, I'm a filmmaker, would you ever want to put this on film? And we spent 2 years getting it together, because the pandemic, we were still talking through the pandemic, but we were like, maybe now is not the right time. And we just kept talking and trying to get it. And Mēsha had so many great ideas. She had all of the knowledge of filmmaking and all the artistic stuff, and obviously her being a woman and deeply connecting to so much of what I was saying, and wanting to capture it in a way that had dignity and beauty and art. And I remember her insisting the camera guy getting the hand sliding down, and I knew exactly what she was trying to get, and he could not. He was like, she's like, I want to see the hand disappear. And I was like, yeah, it's wilting, I'm drowning. And he was like, follow. She's like, no. Yeah. But it was great to have someone who really had a strong vision. I don't know if that answered more than enough. You can cut me out. You can give me a 2-minute, a 30-second.
Anything you'd like to add to that? Make sure you can here. Anything you'd like to add, Mēsha, around that collaboration?
What was the prompt again?
No, just collaboration, the process, the creative process,
Yeah.
collaboration. Clearly,
How
Jillian
it
just
got
saw
to
how
be.
you came together.
Yeah.
But I also was fascinated with your choices, editing and directorially, like the lights, when you chose to illuminate, when you chose to have shadow, the section where the mirroring goes in and out and the double exposure. So you used
Yeah.
what we may call tricks of the trade in these really
Yeah.
profound ways that just supported the storytelling as opposed to just being this thing you can do really well.
Right, yeah. Well, I'll address that interesting thing that happened with the kind of double layering and the tricky part of the film, which from a filmmaker perspective, is the funnest part and was a total not planned happy accident. But first, I just want to say, in reflection of what Jillian said about the process, when I attended that event, everything in my being just kind of, I think I was on the floor, first layer of audience was like sitting cross-legged, and I was so inside of her performance, and I tend to, as a person, feel a little bit uncomfortable with how much distance, at least I feel, between things that are real and like how we go about communicating with each other. And this woman just dropped the veil in such a hardcore, authentic way that really, I know you feared you might make people uncomfortable. It made me feel so comfortable. I was like, yes, oh, this woman is being honest, really honest. And so I think throughout the process, that's been my motivation for asking to put it on film so that it can have more eyes, and so the audience can broaden, because I just deeply admire your ability to be candid and truthful, and I really want to hear you speak and continue to speak. And so that part of the film, we shot that. I didn't know how I wanted to put that monologue on. That it's chapterized, I didn't know how that chapter. So we shot that in front of a white backdrop, and it was supposed to kind of be in silhouette. And I thought, oh, that'd be cool. And then it just looked campy because the cyc wasn't taut. It was very wrinkly, and it didn't read with the same quality of production value that I had intended for the film as a whole. And I was like, damn it, God, it didn't work, I'm so mad. But luckily, I had said, let's just also, for good measure, we didn't do this with any other chapter. I said, let's just also shoot this at the Vanity. So I had the ability to cut between the Vanity shots where she's sitting in front of the mirror talking about the eating disorder section and then the silhouette stuff. And then I just started playing around because I was like, cutting, I can't use anything with the white cyc. I can't use it. So then I didn't even know how to do that as an editor with the layering, but it turns out you can kind of like put one thing on top of the other, and then I was trying different things, and then I was like in there like, oh, this is so freaking cool. And so yes, it was totally unplanned, and it was an accident. So what started out as curses, ended up being like my favorite part.
Mm-hmm. That's also the choreographer talking right there, right? Because the problem solving that our minds will do, I think maybe I'm being a little presumptuous, but that may have also been part of that problem solving, the courage to not give up, but to keep like trying different things. Yeah, that brought you to that. We call in choreography that happy accident. Yeah.
There's like editors are choreographers too.
Yes.
So like how long you choose to linger, when you choose to cut, those are all choreographic choices.
Go ahead. I love that.
We didn't have the time or the budget for that thing not to work.
And then there's that.
No do-overs.
We have about 5 minutes together. I don't want to put any pressure on you, but if is there anyone in the audience that has a question that you want to ask, we can open that up to you. And it's fine if you don't, but if you do, let's hear it. And or anything you might want to share about something that resonated with you about the film. For me, it was like listening to soul music because somehow I was being seen through what you had to express. Anything else that anyone else would like to share with Mēsha and Jillian? Yes. Should I bring Mike because video? You okay if I was speaking in it?
I had a question about, I think Mēsha, you mentioned that you wanted more eyes to see it as a way of like getting out to the world. Like, what is that really, what's the intention behind getting out to the world? Like, what are you hoping to get people to see or feel, experience by putting on film?
I think for me at this moment, because generally it's, I just want to put Jillian on a platform. I just want to hear this woman speak. I want people to hear what she has to say, because I just think you're very well spoken, and I think you have a lot of powerful things to share. And as a director, part of it is like, it's funny, the metaphor that comes to me, I used to play basketball in high school, and I was the point guard, so I'd set up the play, and I'd make the pass, and then the shiny, layup would happen by someone else, and that's how I feel a little bit in my career as well. I want you to make that shiny layup, and I don't know the answer, to be honest with you, about exactly how to get the film the most seen. I'm really open to ideas. I know as part of the Raising Voices program, it will continue to have a life, and I'd love to hear more about what the intentions are of that program. But I know that short form content today is really accessible because so much media is consumed online. And so I'm glad for this project that it's in this medium for that reason. I feel like there was a kernel of your question that I might not have addressed, but
Maybe the impact you think it will have? Did I rephrase that correctly?
I'm going to let Jillian speak to that.
TikTok. There's so much of this film that I think, well, the whole film should have subtitles. Because when you're watching it for the first, I haven't seen it in a while, so sitting and watching it, I'm like, God, it's a lot fast. And so it almost needs subtitles the whole way around, and a lot of people are consuming media with subtitles, which I think is great, and I think it's super inclusive, and I think it makes you have to use a different part of your brain to consume art. And so I want everybody to have access. I want Gen Z specifically to have access. I want to be wherever their eyes are, and I want them to be able to consume it, and if that's in small 30-second or 1-minute pieces, with a teaser to where you go to see the full thing, great. And if that can then bring on other projects or steer people to like-minded stuff, I think that is its purpose, for people. You have said over and over and over again, like, how do we get the people who need to see this to see it? Like, the people who will most relate to it, how do we find them? And early on, before we even created this, you were looking into grants from certain groups that, domestic violence groups, things that merge art with activism. And so that's always been like, how do we do that? And we're still figuring it out. How do we do it?
I think we're right at time, but this is extended family, so we're going to give you the last comment. Is that okay?
Sure. I think something that's so tragically powerful about this piece is that your story is a mirror for the experience of millions of others. And I wonder if either of you, in the making of the art, had healing of any kind, and what you might hope others who see it could experience on that level.
And let's make this sort of rapid fire answer. So what comes up for you going, just so that Linda doesn't get upset with me. I love you, Linda. That's our producer. Productions is like, and she's the person with the ear going, circling the finger.
Right, wrap it up.
Yeah.
Every time I had to hear my own voice tell this story has been like a forced healing of like, and I still don't like to hear it. It was really difficult to shoot, actually, because it's still embarrassing to me, all of the stories. I don't know why. They're not embarrassing, but, it's like you tell a story enough times and it's the gravity of it goes away. Not the power in how it can touch people, but your attachment, your shame, your pulling the light on a shadow, right? Over and over and over again to the point where it loses a lot of its power over you. So yes, it's been healing in a very forced, in vivo, I think is the therapeutic term, where like if you have a fear of garbage, they put you in a garbage can. That's kind of what this has been.
No, for rapid fire, that had a lot in there for us to take away. Don't you worry. That was.
Yeah, I think for me, the film fundamentally, and I've had, through the editing process especially, a lot of time to pour over it. To me, fundamentally, the film is about recovery. And so I echo what Jillian's saying about storytelling and how much courage it takes to tell your stories and turn the light on, and the power and legitimacy of recovery, that recovery exists.
Thank you so much. If we can give some love to Mēsha Kussman and Jillian Schmitz, this one is for you.